everybody, and thank you for joining us on a new edition of Chat and Games, your weekly gaming show. I'm your host for the evening, morning, afternoon, whatever you are listening or watching this, Melvin Rodriguez, and I'm joined by the always sexy voice in the business, Mr. Matthew Howitt.
And the leggy blinker. That's what you can call me
The
from now
leggy
on.
blinker? Hey, the problem is whoever did the animation for your face only gave me the blinking frames, so I had to do my best to make sure that you were not constantly blinking on stream. Okay, and this is all I could come up with. Next time, I just need to take a bunch of like screenshots of you having your eyes open and put them together, and it'll be better. You'll be better. But yeah, how you been, Matt? Aside from having eye issues.
Well, yeah. Apart from being a unmoving GIF, apart from my eyelids, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
You're always smiling. That's the best part about you, though. Never ceases to smile.
That's me, Mr. Positive.
If you're just hearing this on your favorite podcast services around the globe, Matt doesn't actually have a camera, so we made a beautiful gift of him, but the only thing that moves in the gifts is his eyes, and they move very laggy, and it's hilarious. If you haven't seen this, I recommend you go and check out the YouTube. It's all fun and games on YouTube to check this out. But in any case, Matt, to the topic at hand today, we're going to be talking about the various gaming consoles throughout history.
Their launches, because we're going to have 2 more launches pretty quick here.
Coming up pretty soon, November 12th, less than 2 weeks away. We're getting the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S and the PlayStation 5 all together in one awesome package. So I thought it's like, okay, based on the games that they're offering, what are the best video game consoles to get at launch? This is solely speaking on their launch titles. This is not talking about their technological capabilities, what they did to advance the entertainment industry at the time. This is strictly speaking about what games did they offer for consumers at the time of launch.
Yep.
Okay. We also have some caveats here too. We're not going to be talking about every single console in existence.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're going to be talking about the 3 major ones that are out in the market right now, the 3 major companies, Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony. But since Sega has such a legacy of making consoles as well, we're going to be talking about 3 particular Sega consoles that we know about. The reason that we don't want to dive into some of the other consoles is because we literally have no opinion or idea because we weren't there at the time, or we haven't actually played those games.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Everybody ready? Let's get started. Okay, Matt, I never asked you, how should we do this? Should we do this in chronological order from the past to present?
Yeah, I think that.
Or should we do it company?
Makes the most sense. We could go by company as well if you would find that easier to keep track of in your head.
No, well, that's why we have the beautiful list here provided by Tier Rank.
Yeah.
To be able to help us out for sure. Okay. So if you're just listening to this, we're using Tier Maker to grab the pictures of the consoles, and we're gonna be ranking them from S, A, B, C, D. S being the highest, D being the lowest. And we're gonna start. Let's do chronological because that's the ordering that I see here on the screen. Let's start with the first one on our list, which is the Famicom/Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah, and we're using the US launches just because
we're using the US launches
more than the other regions.
Yeah. The first thing that I noticed from the SNES launch on the States is actually it's decent size.
Yeah.
Like I've seen other game launches and it's like there's only like a few titles in there, but this one has quite a few. A lot of sports games.
Yeah.
That's one thing in common that a lot of consoles have.
And I think the majority of these are actually like Nintendo first party as well.
Yes. That is true. So in here we got a few titles like 10-Yard Flight, Baseball, Clue Land. What the heck is Clue Land? I need to click on that.
Clue Land
Duck
is great.
Hunt. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
Excite Bike, Golf, Gyromite, Hogan's Alley, Ice Climber, Kung Fu, Pinball, Soccer, Stack Up, Super Mario Brothers, Tennis, Wild Gunman, and Wrecking Crew. First of all, the names of some of the sports games, beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. We're not talking FIFA. We're not talking Madden. We're talking the actual name of the sport.
Well, back in those days, that's all you needed because there weren't any other soccer or tennis games.
Yeah. Now, out of the names that we read there, Matt, which one stands out to you out of these releases?
Well, Super Mario Bros. Is obviously the crown jewel here. I don't think that's going to be a controversial statement, but I did notice maybe a interesting lack of Donkey Kong.
Oh, that is true.
Which
did Donkey Kong come out just on the NES? Oh no, it just came out in the Japanese launch.
Yeah, so it's interesting that because my understanding at least is Donkey Kong in the arcades was a pretty big deal in all regions. So it's interesting that was excluded from the launch lineup for the N64. Or blah, blah, blah. Getting way ahead of myself. NES.
Oh, I know you're excited, Matt, but slow down your horses there. Yeah, it's interesting that Donkey Kong didn't make it to the US launch for sure, especially because it's 2 years later. If you look at the Japanese launch, it happened in July 15, 1983, while the US launch happened in 1985.
Yeah, because the whole video game crash in America, it took a lot longer, which I think is why you see a lot more games here compared to the Japanese launch, is they kind of had time to build them up. I know Stack Up and Gyromite as well are kind of unique cases where they were made to work with Rob because Rob was their whole strategy to sell it as an entertainment system instead of just a video game console. I've never actually played any of the Rob games. I don't know if you have, but I've heard that they aren't the greatest.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, no, I actually haven't played it myself. So the only reason that I know Rob is Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games that I only know because of Smash Brothers. But in any case, the main thing that we want to look in here is, do we have enough titles to rank this up in the top list? Do you think this deserves to be, what tier do you think the NES lands in?
I put the NES in B tier because...
B? Okay.
Yeah. You've got, well, we're considering these like in their time of release, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
So you've got your killer app, which I think is important, your Super Mario Bros. In this case, which is the game that everyone's going to want. It's going to keep people playing. You got a few other solid titles. The ones I know of at least are Excite Bike and Clu Clu Land. I think are both pretty good for as far as NES games go. Some kind of neat little titles like Duck Hunt and Ice Climber haven't stood up as well, but I'm sure they were better in their time. And I mean, there's enough other stuff here that like you could pick out a few games and I'm sure have a solid time with them. The reason I have it no higher than B for me is I think like as far as these games go, Mario Bros. And maybe Excite Bike are the only ones that really like that you would really hear talked about these days. Outside of like people know Ice Climbers because they're in Smash Bros. And that's about it.
That is true.
Yeah, I think those are the only ones that have left like enough of an impact. Obviously, Mario Bros. Left a huge impact, but a lot of these other titles haven't really. They're kind of just like neat little distractions. I don't know that they're super in-depth, full-fledged games, really.
Okay. I do agree with the Super Mario Brothers statement. I think that's the carry title for sure. Like that title stands up today. We have even the 35th anniversary that included the Battle Royale and everything. So it's being played until today. And the Excite Bike, yes, it's very recognizable. And it provided a lot of fun, a lot of hours. I'm always thinking, like when I was doing this list on my own, I was thinking, if I was to get this at launch, would I have enough titles to essentially help me be entertained for at least a year if I was a kid, for example? And Super Mario Brothers Excitebike. There's so many titles in here that I think I will be satisfied. So yeah, I personally ranked it at a A tier.
Okay.
As far as launches go, but we can go for B for now.
Yeah,
Let's go B.
I'm fine with either of those. I'm not too picky.
Okay. And other house rules, we can change them based on when we discuss with other titles, and then we compare them against each other. We can make revisions at the end.
Yep.
And the other thing that I wanted to point out is the list that we're getting this from, all the launch game titles, is from a website called Gamepedia, which is like the Wikipedia for games, and it's basically, it says that it may be incomplete in some areas, so where we may be missing a few here and there. For the most part, I checked it against other websites, and it's very reliable. Okay, so that is it for what they call the third generation of consoles. They also had the Atari 7800 and the Sega Mark III. We actually have no idea what about those two systems, so we're not going to rank those two out of ignorance. So let's talk about the Sega Genesis next.
All right.
So Sega Genesis, the competitor, Sega's competitor to Nintendo, I would say, now at that point, getting close to some of the titles here. The US launch happening August 14, 1989, and it includes titles such as Space Harrier 2, Tommy Lasorda Baseball, Last Battle, Thunder Force 2, Alter Beast, Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, and Ghouls and Ghost.
Yep.
All right. Matt, out of those titles, which ones do you recognize?
So I know Ghouls and Ghosts is a kind of one of those classic side-scroller platformers, kind of known for their difficulty. And I believe is still well-liked to this day. I haven't personally played it, unfortunately. I haven't personally played any of these, I don't think. I'm also familiar with Altered Beast, which is a side-scrolling, I don't want to say beat 'em up, because it's not quite the same, but it's sort of that vein of game. Where you also turn into a werewolf or different types of beasts, depending on the level, I think is its gimmick. And I don't think it's that great. Maybe for the time it was better, but I feel like I've seen some gameplay of it, and it doesn't look super impressive.
No, it definitely doesn't hold up in these ages. Especially
Which
they made a few
goes for a lot of these
games.
But yeah. And then Alex Kidd, I recognize the name. It looks like a 2D platformer, but I don't know too much about it.
Okay. So the main one we would say is Ghouls and Ghosts. Ghouls and Ghosts here.
Ghouls and Ghosts.
As being the side scroller. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, what's missing from the Genesis here, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this the console where Sonic came out?
So they didn't have Sonic at launch. I guess it took them a while to come around. He didn't exist yet, basically.
Yeah. And so missing some of their core titles and everything, Ghouls and Ghosts, I will put this at a C, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, there's some stuff here. It's not a nothing. But, yeah. As far as launches go, it seems fairly standard. I don't actually know which one of these is the Genesis, so I'll leave that to you.
I'm trying to find that. I can't actually see it. Okay, we'll move on. I'll put it up on C. But next one is the Super Famicom or Super NES. So we're getting the sequel or the next generation of Nintendo consoles. And this one, the launch titles are not that. There's not that much variety. There's only 5 titles. It came out in August 23rd, 1991. It came out with Super Mario World, F-Zero, Pilot Wings, SimCity, and Gradius 3. Now, those are only 5 titles, but let me tell you, those are some 5 titles right there.
Yeah, like that's the thing I'm thinking as well, is like, there's not too much, but I feel like all of these games are quality, or at least were back in their day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're pretty solid. Like, the fact that we haven't seen F-Zero in a while, it makes me sad.
And like, these are all games that I've heard people have fond memories about. To this day.
Super Mario World is like...
Yeah. Like, that's probably the gem again. They love having their Mario game at launch. F-Zero was fairly revolutionary at the time as far as racing games go, I believe.
Yeah.
Pilot Wings, I know less about, but I know a lot of people have fond memories of that, enough at least that it persisted all the way up into like 3DS, I think was the last one we got.
Yeah.
SimCity was a pretty good translation of like that more simulator type game of like city building to a video game console. Typically they would be more on like PCs and stuff because they were a bit more complicated. But it made that type of game like a lot more accessible and easy to play. I think my understanding is SimCity is a pretty important title. And also
it is. I mean,
quite good. Yeah. And then Gradius, you got your like, it's a classic side-scrolling shooter thingy that were all the range back in the day. But I think it's a pretty good one from what I've heard at least. So.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that Gradius 3 missing, it looks like it's the least. Like the least of the 5,
and that's still a name that I hear come up. So, yeah,
exactly. Oh no, but like if we're comparing it, SimCity, it started the simulation type games. Like SimCity is still very well known until today. Even games are coming out today from SimCity.
Yeah,
it brought up The Sims, which is currently being built like crazy.
I will say, I think the SimCity of then and now might be like two separate things. I'm not sure what happened with the whole thing, but I know SimCity on the Super Famicom was like a Nintendo game, and it definitely isn't now. So I'm not really sure how that all shook out eventually, but
I think it's the same creator, right? Isn't it?
It might be.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I think I still put it up there.
So it might
I
just
still
be
think
like
it's
different
also
publishers or something. Yeah. I don't know the full story there, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And in any case, let us know if we're wrong by writing in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, or just writing at us and yelling at us at it's all fun and games TV at gmail.com.
So yeah,
okay.
I had SNES at A tier.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
I think it's an A tier. Close to me, it's like really close to S.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
close.
If anything was gonna go to S, that might be one of them. Like I think I mentioned to you early on, I didn't really have an S in my ranking, but yeah, if I had to stretch it to say like what are the best of the A's, that one might make it in. So
yeah, I mean the titles are solid. We'll put it on an S. You know what? We'll put it on an S.
Okay.
If you were a kid and you got an SNES at launch and you had those titles, I don't think you're complaining.
Yeah, that's fair.
So let's get it. So next thing in our list is we're jumping up to the 5th generation, the Sega Saturn, PlayStation, Nintendo 64. Holy, this is awesome. Okay, Sega Saturn. This is when I've actually started. I started getting into gaming. I had an NES. Obviously, that I got it way after launch. I wasn't alive when it was launched.
Right.
But then I got my SNES. The SNES is the one that I started playing, and that's the one that got me into gaming. But I really sprung up with the N64. You know what I mean? That's the one that got me into gaming a lot. All right, Sega Saturn first. So the Sega Saturn in the US launch happened in May 11, 1995. It came out with Clockwork Knight, Daytona USA, Panzer Dragoon, Pebble Beach Golf Links, Virtua Fighter, by the way.
Yeah.
Worldwide Soccer, Sega International Victory Gold Edition. I love how the titles are started.
Yeah.
We started with the sports titles being soccer, tennis. Now we're getting into Worldwide Soccer, Sega International Victory Gold Edition. Beautiful.
So yeah, the two that definitely stand out for me here are Virtua Fighter, which I don't know if you've heard, but recently there was like a teaser at potentially a new Virtua Fighter. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's still going on to this day. And Panzer Dragoon actually just got I believe it was like a full remaster.
Like very recently?
Yeah, like pretty recently.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, Panzer Dragoon is like a Star Fox type game, and apparently is quite good. I hear about it fairly often.
It is a shoot 'em up, essentially,
yeah,
but it is quite
on rails shooter.
Exactly. I think honestly, it's not. I don't think it's as well known as Star Fox.
Not quite, but apparently quality-wise,
I heard good
it's
things
up there with Star Fox. early Star
Yeah.
Fox.
Exactly. Early. We're not talking Zero here. That
Yeah.
monstrosity. Anyway. So titles that stand out, you said Virtual Fighter, Panzer Dragon, Daytona USA. I also heard of.
Yeah, it's a
Not
driving
as
game.
much.
I don't know too much about
Yeah,
it.
racing
but,
game.
Yeah. It is a name I've heard, so there must be something to that.
I have actually played this back in the day.
Okay.
I had a friend that had a Sega Saturn, and I remember playing a racing game. I wasn't quite sure what it was, but now that I look at it, it was Daytona USA.
Okay.
So looking at this launch titles, Virtual Fighter, Daytona USA, Panzer Dragon, it's decent.
Yeah. Clockwork Knight I had to look up just now. It looks like a 2D platformer, but apart from that, I don't really recognize much here.
Okay.
And then there's kind of
I say
the
B.
2 sports games as well. Yeah, I was sort of leaning B as well. There's some games here that have obviously stood the test of time. Virtua Fighter might have been the first 3D fighting game. Does that sound correct?
Was it? You might be right, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, so that's kind of a big-ish deal.
That's a big deal. Yeah, that's a big-ish deal. 3D fighting game, by the way. We're not saying it's the first fighting game.
Yeah.
It's just the first 3D one.
So yeah,
you may be right.
There's some games here that I recognize, and I've heard are good. Unfortunately, again, this is another one where I haven't actually played any of these, but yeah, it's a pretty good lineup. I'm fine with B.
Yeah. I think I put it as C. I think I put the wrong one there. I can't for the life of me find the Sega Genesis. Is it this thing? It's just the pictures are a bit cut out. I think it's this one, so I'm gonna put
one of the black
put
ones.
This as a C. No, no, I'm almost certain it's this one, but I can't quite pinpoint it. Okay, moving on. PlayStation, first Sony console. Do you know the story that they almost merged, like they used to be like Sega and PlayStation were gonna launch a console together, but that kind of fell out last minute. It was Nintendo and
PlayStation. I know that apparently Nintendo, like both Sony and Microsoft at one point were in talks with Nintendo to partner with them, and Nintendo was not having that, so they both went, okay, fine, we'll do it ourselves.
Exactly. If you don't know the story between Sony and Nintendo when before the PlayStation came out, I recommend you look it up. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so it came out on September 9, 1995, and it came out with the following titles: Air Combat, Battle Arena Toshinden, ESPN Streams Games, Kill League. Oh my gosh, I don't know this one, but Kill League: The DNA Imperative, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, Power Serve 3D Tennis, The Raiden Project, Rayman, Ridge Racer, Street Fighter the movie, Total Eclipse Turbo, Zero Divide.
Okay, Melvin, you're gonna have to help me out on this one because I don't know the vast majority of these.
Okay. But you do know Rayman, right?
I know Rayman. That one's like, and that's one of the old 2D ones.
Yes. So Rayman, all 2D games, they actually keep making them. It's very popular among Ubisoft nowadays.
Yep.
We got NBA Jam. I don't know about the Tournament Edition. I remember playing NBA Jam. I don't remember if it was just the Tournament Edition, but solid title. I really enjoyed the little spins that they put in the basketball game right there.
Okay.
Air Combat, I haven't played, but it's it's almost like the Ace Combat series. So this one has been known for a while. Street Fighter, the movie, I have no idea, to be honest with you. Obviously, we all know what Street Fighter is.
Yeah,
but Street Fighter, the movie,
assume is not like a winning Street Fighter, but
no.
Street Fighter the movie, honestly, the game.
And honestly, all the other titles right here, I barely recognize. Like Zero Divide, Total Eclipse Turbo, the Raiden Project.
Okay, I'm looking at this Street Fighter game now. This looks fake. This looks like something that shouldn't actually exist.
Oh, that shouldn't actually. Is it one of those games that you go to the store?
It looks like they're trying to make Street Fighter look like Mortal Kombat, like how they took the pictures of the actual people. Oh, this looks atrocious.
No.
Oh,
I mean, and then if thinking back of like what the PlayStation had to offer like afterwards, not the launch titles, but after, like you got, this is the console that brought you Final Fantasy VII.
Yep. And Metal Gear Solid.
The Metal Gear Solid. There's so many titles in here that stand out and are like defining for the PlayStation that are definitely not in this list.
Yeah.
I've considered, I personally would put this at a C.
Yeah, I had it as a C as well. There's no Crash, no Spyro.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the classics
Not Crash Team
missing.
Racing.
I don't, and like I said, I haven't even heard
No
of
Twisted Metal.
most of these, so
No.
I don't know
No.
how well this launch stood the test of time.
I'm almost like, I'm thinking we're gonna keep going with the rest of the list, but I'm almost put this at a D. It's almost like,
Yeah,
nah.
I kept it up because there's at least a few, like, there's a good number of games, and like Rayman's there. Ridge Racer I've heard of, so maybe that's the thing.
It's a in the arcade. Ridge Racer was definitely better in the arcades.
Okay,
like
gotcha.
if you played it with the actual setup and everything, a lot better. With on the PlayStation, it control fine, but definitely not the optimal experience. So that's why I didn't mention that well.
Gotcha.
All right, so moving on to the N64.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
The US launch technically only had 2 titles, which surprised me because I really thought that Mario Kart was part of the launch titles, but it was probably I probably got it later, and it came out and that one had Mario Kart in it. But yeah, looking at the N64 right here, the US launch had 2 titles.
Wave Race was a launch title for sure.
What, that wasn't on the GameCube? Wave Racer was definitely
Wave
on the
Race
GameCube.
64. Wasn't it? Am I
mean, we can
losing my
we can
mind?
look it up.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, you can look it up while I read these
Wave Race
amazing
64
list
is
of...
totally a thing. I'm not crazy.
Oh, I think it is a thing, but I don't think it was a launch title.
No, it wasn't a launch title, clearly, but I thought it was. It must have been like early in the life. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, the 2 titles that we got in here: Pilot Wing 64 and Super Mario 64.
So
honestly, what do you have to say? Sorry, Matt, I didn't want to cut you off.
I was gonna say this is similar to the SNES, where it's like it's not that the games here are bad. Mm-mm. Like the technically, it's like the SNES, where it's like, okay, the whole launch is quality. The difference is we went from 5 games down to just 2, which is kind of a harder sell. I mean, you do have your like big title in Super Mario 64. I do think it's important to have like a killer app for a console launch. So
a system seller.
They do have that. It's just that the problem is that that's kind of all that they have.
Yeah, I mean, Pilot Wing 64, I think even the SNES was more well received than the 64 version.
Yeah, I believe Pilot Wing 64 is still liked.
Oh no, it's still good. Yeah.
But yeah, this was, I will say, early 3D games had it pretty rough. So the fact that you had Mario 64 at launch, I think, is still like very impressive. As far as like single games, I think Mario 64 is one of the best launch titles ever, because as like one of the first 3D games ever, that it nailed it to the extent that it did, I think was impressive and necessary to like show that there is a future in 3D gaming. So that alone was enough to bump this up to a B for me. But I don't think I can even remotely justify any higher than that with only 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 2 games, so it's hard to put up a sale. But like, if you think about it again, thinking about what the N64 had to offer, obviously, great titles. Yeah. We got all the rare games. We got the beautiful Donkey Kong 64. Even though nobody likes
two
it, but
classic Zelda games.
2 amazing Zelda games.
Yeah.
My favorite Zelda game of all time, or even my favorite game of all time, potentially. Yeah. It's up there. But then you have Super Mario 64. That is also like generation defining right there.
Yeah. Nintendo's really being saved by their Mario launch titles so far.
So far, yeah. I will put it at a B, but I can almost say that I can justify an A personally.
An A? Oh,
because
really?
just because
for Mario
just because of
64.
Super Mario 64.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll put it at a B for now. We'll take a gander afterwards. Okay. Next, sixth generation. Let's start with the Sega Dreamcast.
Okay.
The Sega Dreamcast, September 9, 1999. Wow. Okay, that's way older than I thought it was.
Look at that list.
Yeah, but look at this list. Holy. Aero Wings, Air Force Delta, Blue Stinger, Expendable, Flag to Flag, House of the Dead 2, Hydro Thunder. Oh, yeah. Monaco Grand Prix, Mortal Kombat Gold, NFL 2K, NFL Blitz 2000, Pen Trizillion, Power Stone, Ready to Rumble Boxing, Sonic Adventure, Soul Calibur, TNN Motorsports Hardcore Heat, Tokyo Extreme Racer, and Trick Style. Oh, okay. Speaking of games, a launch consoles that didn't have it, that were not lacking in titles. Wow.
Yeah, there's a good number here. You had quite a reaction to Hydro Thunder, and I actually never heard of that one. So maybe you could.
You never heard of Hydro
elaborate.
Thunder? Well, this was on the N64.
Oh, okay.
This is
Gotcha.
This is also in the arcades, and I remember always better in the arcades. Like racing these boats in the arcade was a lot of fun. I mostly remember fondly because of the arcades, but yeah, I played this also. I don't know if they had it here, but back in South America, they don't call on the same vibe as cyber cafes. They had game stations, essentially. It's a store that had a bunch of consoles together, and you pay like an hour to play a console, and they had a bunch of games, and you get to pick one of them. That was how I experienced the Dreamcast. I never owned it. My friends never owned it. But every time that we went to the mall, and my mom just had enough of me, she just sent me to one of those stores, left me there for 2 hours while I played some Dreamcast, sorry, and she went on her merry way. I think Hydro Thunder is a solid title.
Okay.
It has a sense of speed and everything. It is the racing. It's the best boat racing game that I played.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then looking back at the full list, you finally got your Sonic title at launch, which is something that Sega hasn't had up to this point. So that's obviously a huge deal. Soul Calibur.
That's a huge deal.
The first Soul Calibur, obviously that is a landmark title. Still a popular series to this day. Power Stone is one that I'm personally fond of. And NFL Blitz is like one of the few sports games that I'm kind of interested in because it was, I think it was more like unrealistic, kind of cartoony, like more like a Mario sports game, which of course I'm all about.
It's arcadey for sure. Yeah, like you said, it's on the same. It has the same feeling as the Mario sports games.
And then you got some like other recognizable names here. You got House of the Dead. You got Mortal Kombat.
Although I don't know about this Mortal Kombat Gold. I don't know what this one in particular is about. But it has Mortal Kombat.
Fighter the movie?
I hope not. But I don't think, even if it's Street Fighter the movie, I think you have enough titles in here to justify, okay, this is a solid launch, I would say.
I just assumed that Gold was like basically like a better version, updated version of Mortal Kombat 4. Okay, that's kind of what I expected.
Oh, Mortal Kombat 4, okay. That's cool. I enjoy. That was when they made their big strides to 3D. It's still a 2D plane, but the characters look 3D.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So this I actually had in S tier for Dreamcast.
S tier.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, see, here's the argument that I want to put up your way, Mr. Matt.
All right.
The argument of having exclusive titles versus having titles at launch. And this is going to come into play when we come into the most recent generation.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because technically, if you think about all these titles, not all of them are exclusive. Like, for example, Hydro Thunder came out on the N64.
Right, that one I didn't know. I was working under the assumption that this was still in an era where most of these were exclusive. And, like, obviously, once Sega went under, a lot of them came to other consoles. But
oh, you may be right about that.
My guess was at the time, the vast majority of these were exclusives.
Okay. That we will have to like, fact check because I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, like I know
But
Sonic Adventure was definitely not coming out on
definitely.
other things at the time. Same with Power Stone, that was a first party title. Soul
And I think
Calibur
Soul
is Sega
Calibur
first
was
party, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it was. So we got Soul Calibur. At the very least, we got Soul Calibur, Sonic Adventure, and which one did you mention again?
Power Stone.
Yeah, Power Stone. So we got a few like I think it has to be a mix, right? You have to have your third parties in there to like keep you to provide some substance, and also some of the third party titles are awesome. But you also have to have substance of your own to make sure it's like, okay, this is the power seller. You can only buy this here, so buy this console.
Part of it
I think
might
it has
just be
enough.
me feeling bad for the Dreamcast. But also I was kind of comparing this to like the other Sega launches, and it feels like they really brought it this generation.
Yeah, we'll put out an S. I'll give it
All right.
S.
There's a win for Sega.
Sega, yeah.
It's
a solid launch. There is a solid launch for sure. All right, let's go to PlayStation 2. One of the best-selling consoles ever.
Yeah.
Right here. Let's see what he had to offer at launch.
And this was after we were not very impressed by the PlayStation launch. This already looks like an improvement.
Oh, there's so many titles. Should I even read them all? Oh my.
No, I think we're going to have to stop reading everything. We can go through the big ones.
Yeah, Dead or Alive 2, I think is very recognizable.
Yep.
Is Evergrace? That sounds recognizable to me, but I could be wrong. Madden NFL 2001, NHL 2001, Midnight Club, Street Racing. Ready to Rumble Boxing, I'm pretty sure I saw that before. We got Street Fighter EX3. We got Tekken Tag Tournament. Time Splitters. Unreal Tournament.
Okay.
And Wild War Racing sounds familiar.
Might have jumped the gun a bit, but there are some things I recognize here. I know Unreal Tournament's a pretty big deal.
Oh, huge. Yeah. But I thought it was mostly recognized with PC.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It may not be an exclusive like PlayStation thing. I'm going to look that up right now.
Okay. But in the meantime, it has Tekken Tag Tournament. I remember playing that quite a bit. I don't think it's like the most fun Tekken by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay, yeah, it released on Windows first, Unreal Tournament.
Okay. So it's not a PlayStation exclusive. Tekken Tag Tournament. I remember playing it. Obviously, that's the one that you actually had like multiple, characters in your team. That's why it's called tag. You can move them in and out. Now the one that is very recognizable here is Time Splitters. We haven't seen one in a while, actually.
I know that was Street Fighter big thing EX3. In arcades. I wasn't as much aware of it as like a home console game.
Really, the Time Splitters?
Yeah, isn't that like the arcade like light gun games?
This is the one developed by Eidos.
Single arcade.
Yes, that is it?
That's what I thought.
To remember. Okay, now you got me thinking about it. I will look it up. But in the meantime, what about Street Fighter EX3? Do you think that's a worthy title here? Because Street Fighter 3 had already come out.
Does it matter that we have... So Street Fighter EX was like the 3D Street Fighters, which my understanding are not very like well regarded these days.
Mm. Okay, fair enough.
Because that wasn't Street Fighter 3. Street Fighter 3 would be a bigger deal, I think.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I mean, Street Fighter 3 is very...
I mean, we're up to Ridge Racer 5 after Ridge Racer 1, just one generation ago.
That is true. Honestly, there's a lot of titles here, but I don't think it has enough, like as much substance.
What's the killer app? Is my question.
Yeah, I think personally, based on what I'm seeing here, Time Splitters, Dead or Alive 2. I don't know, maybe Tekken.
Armored Core sounds familiar as well.
Yeah. Okay, now let's go back and think about what defined the PlayStation 2. Like, what are some of the core titles there? Like, this is when GTA like really took its place.
Oh yeah,
in my
for
opinion.
sure.
Honestly, obviously, PC also had it, but at the same time, GTA 3 came out, GTA San Andreas, GTA Vice City also came out here.
Yeah,
And
like
there's
I think all the best selling games for PlayStation 2 were GTA games, weren't they?
I think so, yeah. And that's when
Okay,
that's when it became
no, not
big.
quite. I'm looking it up now. It's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was the first one, but then the next two were Gran Turismo 3 and 4 were the best selling games.
Oh, Gran Turismo, yeah.
Final Fantasy X's on here, Metal Gear Solid 2, I assume Metal Gear Solid 3, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh,
Huge deal.
Kingdom Hearts is a big one. Huge deal. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is a
Should have
huge
thought
deal.
about
Honestly,
that.
like thinking about this list is like, I mean, there's a lot of
Oh,
titles
God of
to keep you
War.
occupied.
God of War as well. Jack and Daxter.
My gosh.
Ratchet and Clank.
Okay.
Guitar Hero.
See, this is the generation that I miss. My PlayStation 2. I went straight from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 3. And I miss quite the generation. Yeah, okay. Let's put this at I would say C, maybe B.
Yeah, it's definitely lacking the killer app, I feel like, and yeah, it doesn't really have the titles that I think were really pivotal to the PlayStation 2 later down the line.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I would say C. Like, there's obviously I don't think it's a D. There's enough variety here. It might be a B, just because of the amount of games, but I'll let you make that call.
No, I'm putting C. I'm making it C.
Okay.
PlayStation are doing so great with launch titles right now. All right, let's make it. And just so you know, Steve, which is talking to us through chat at the moment, you can do so as well as watching this live on twitch.tv/itsallfunandgames on Mondays. Steve says that the draw was sports games. Yes, for him, Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter were.
We might be showing our
big time.
bias here in just that we don't really care about sports titles, but if that's what you were into, like, obviously the PS2 delivered. Like, it had everything you would have ever needed at launch.
Yeah, for sure. But the thing is, like, we're talking about generational titles here.
We can only talk about we can only really talk about our experiences, and unfortunately, sports games are not quite as big of a deal to us.
Yeah,
but it is a fair
on.
point to make that, like, obviously we're not speaking for everyone. We can only really speak for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I should have put that at the beginning, Matt. That should be the first thing, the first app. It's like,
no, everyone's already mad. It's too late.
Yeah, it's already mad. Oh my gosh, this is very subjective. This is us talking, like me and my bud here, just having a chat, a casual conversation about ranking consoles, because that's what you do on a Monday night. You know what I mean? Okay, moving on to the Nintendo GameCube. We got the US launch, has a lot more titles than the Japanese launch.
Yep.
US launch has All Stars Baseball 2002, Batman Vengeance, Crazy Taxi, Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 2, Disney's Tarzan Untamed, Luigi's Mansion, Madden NFL 2002, NHL Hits 20-02 for some reason, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader, Super Monkey Ball, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, Wave Race Blue Storm.
I'm going to guess Tony Hawk was not an exclusive.
No, absolutely not. I've definitely played that on the PlayStation 1 as well.
Was Star Wars? I don't think Star Wars was.
No, I don't think so either.
So,
but it's still a decent game. Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
I'm surprised Crazy Taxi's here. So Sega was already out of business when the GameCube came out. As far as, like, the console business, obviously.
The console business, yeah.
But
Crazy Taxi obviously was Dreamcast first. That's for sure. I remember playing it on the Dreamcast.
So I'm guessing, ironically, the main titles here are probably still the same three that Japan launched with, which are Luigi's Mansion, Wave Race, and Super Monkey Ball.
I would say so. The core Nintendo party titles.
Because I feel like the rest of these are released on other things, or just things that I don't know. Does anyone remember Disney's Tarzan Untamed? Probably.
No, I do not.
I probably
remember
just
Disney's
really
Tarzan.
upset someone.
Disney Tarzan Untamed. I'm trying to remember if this is the same one that I played one on PC, and I don't think this was it. It was a fun game.
The 2D one, maybe.
No, this is definitely 3D.
Okay.
3D on a 2.5D, I guess. Like
Gotcha.
2D platformer, but with 3D assets. Any case, we got the big titles. So if you look at the big hitters, Luigi's Mansion, solid.
Yep.
The first one, solid.
And I think I've mentioned Monkey Ball before. I love that game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that even when we were talking about, like, I believe one of our favorite games for sure. Or your story growing up too.
Wave Race
and
is another one where it's like, I haven't played it, but I believe this one is still good.
Oh, it is good. I can tell you for sure because
Okay.
when I got my GameCube, I didn't get it at launch. I got it at Christmas. Super Smash Bros. Melee was out already.
Yeah.
So I obviously didn't make it to the launch window, but it was like a launch window. So I almost put it here.
Like that's because the thing is, I know Pikmin and Melee came out super quick on the GameCube.
Yeah, they did.
They were planned for launch and just didn't quite make it. But I mean, there might be other games that did that I'm just not aware of. So I think we have to keep it fair and not consider them here.
Mm-hmm.
If we were considering Melee and Pikmin, I think this would be an easy S tier for me.
Yeah. I wanted to put it S because they're so close though.
Yeah.
That by the time most of the consoles came out close to the holiday season. Obviously for the big push, Christmas, buy people present, your kid yapping at you because they want a new console. And that was me, by the way. The fact that you could get Melee and Pikmin as well at launch, I would almost say like it's part of the launch lineup. If you were considering to buy a console at Christmas, this is part of it. This will be it. So if we had Melee and Pikmin and Luigi's Mansion, Super Monkey Ball, and Wave Racer, S tier. Absolutely.
As is though. Now, I think I gotta knock it down a few. Which one of these games would you call the killer app? Would it be Luigi's Mansion?
I would say Luigi's Mansion. Second will be Wave Racer to me. I haven't played Super Monkey Ball.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm just not sure. Because Luigi's Mansion, I like Luigi's Mansion plenty. But, I mean, if we're looking back at Nintendo's previous launches, like Super Mario Bros., Mario World, and 64 were all hugely influential games. Luigi's Mansion wasn't, and it was also fairly short.
Yeah.
Like, I think you can play Mario World in 64 especially, back in the day at least. Obviously, there's like speedruns now, but back when you were a kid, those games would have lasted you quite a while. Luigi's Mansion, maybe?
Yeah, I think Luigi's Mansion has less replayability than those ones as well.
Okay.
Personally. Okay, I put it at A just because, and the reason, and I'll tell you why, because it does have like three very good launch titles, solid titles, and it does have its third party that you can also dive into. Like if you didn't have a Dreamcast playing Crazy Taxi, or you didn't have a PlayStation playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, solid.
Yeah,
I would say.
And Star Wars Rogue Squadron, I've heard is quite good as well. So I'll throw that in.
So I'll make my push for A on this one.
Okay, I had it at B, but I can understand A for GameCube. Okay.
Put it at A for now.
All right.
Xbox. First time that Microsoft enters the world of video games.
Yeah.
And we
how
got
did they do?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's quite a bit of titles. So again, we're gonna try to focus on the big ones. We got Shrek.
big one right at number 2 there.
Right. Number 2, very big one right here. Halo Combat Evolve. We got Oddworld, Munch Odyssey, obviously very beloved franchise.
Yep.
Dead or Alive 3. We consider Dead or Alive 2 for the PlayStation 2, so might as well consider this one here too.
I think we're at a point now where that Dead or Alive on original PlayStation I think might have been exclusive, but it definitely wasn't at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I think that's worth noting.
Mm-hmm. Then we got Project Gotham Racing. I heard very good things about that racing game. We got your NHLs, you got your Madden, you got your NASCAR, you got Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 times. I don't know what this is. Is this like a package
2X?
deal? You mind looking that up? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
2X.
know. You got Fusion Frenzy, which is like a Mario Party thing.
Oh, did I miss that one? Yeah, Fusion Frenzy.
Well, it's like down at the bottom there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
So
S-
obviously, it's clear what the prime title is here. We got
I mean,
Halo.
Halo. Like, the fact that you got your killer game, like the one that defines Microsoft, I would
Yeah.
say. Well, not Microsoft, Xbox. Like,
Yeah.
if you think Xbox, you think Master Chief, you think Halo.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. I will hope so.
Like-
So having that at the core right there when the game comes out, and one of the games that revolutionized first-person shooters, I think it's very solid already.
Yeah.
Then you have your sports for the sports fans. You
Yep.
got your Project Gotham Racing. You got your Shrek for the kids. I don't know if Shrek was any good. That's it. That's the only part that I'm missing here. Is like, if you are a kid, like obviously you will most likely be looking at the GameCube side.
Well, obviously you play Halo and you go online and yell at people. Is what happens.
There was no online. I don't think there was online quite yet. The first Xbox is the one that introduced Xbox Live.
Yep.
But it wasn't mainstream yet. It took a little bit to get there,
Yeah,
for sure.
but I know Halo definitely had online and was like one of the
Yeah.
the first big online games on console.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, Matt,
yeah.
S.
Okay, I had it at A. So
Okay.
my only reasoning was obviously Halo. Like Halo alone puts it up to B, and then there's like enough other stuff here that I was willing to push it up to A. I guess my
Okay.
only issue was I wasn't sure how much of these other ones were actually exclusives. Like,
True.
because none of these other things are really things I personally associate with the Xbox brand. I don't know if maybe I'm
No.
just missing something.
But Fusion Frenzy definitely was. Well, I think Fusion Frenzy, Project Gotham Racing,
Okay.
Halo. Those are 3 core titles. And given that I gave an A to GameCube for Luigi's Mansion and stuff, I think Halo
guess
had
by that standard,
influence.
this is definitely I had this above the GameCube for sure.
Okay.
So yeah,
we'll
I'd be fine with that.
Okay, Xbox S tier. Sweet.
Nothing in D
All right.
yet.
Nothing in D yet. I mean, like I said, I could have placed myself either the PlayStation or
PlayStation 1, yeah.
the PlayStation 1. It just wasn't great.
All right.
7th generation. Sega's out of the picture now.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. We got the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Wii. All right, Xbox 360 comes in first with a lot of titles again. This is when like that we got a little bit of substance now.
This is also though when I think they really start cutting down on like actually new titles. Like I think Perfect Dark Zero is new here, but also bad from what I've heard. So
but definitely not the Perfect Dark that people want to remember.
Right.
So we got Amp 3.
Rare. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, don't worry. Call of Duty 2. I remember Call of Duty 2 for sure because I got that one when I got my Xbox. Cameo, Elements of Power, Madden, NBA. Well, this is when NBA Live was a thing. The EA title instead of the 2K. Wow. Need for Speed Most Wanted. I would say I really enjoyed that Need for Speed. This is when I was actually a fan of like Need for Speed games and car games or racing games. I don't know what happened to me. I kind of fell out of them, but I really enjoy Most Wanted and Carbon. Those are my 2 favorite ones. Perfect Dark Zero, as you mentioned. Project Gotham Racing 3. Quake 4. Tiger Woods. And Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. I don't know if that's when Tony Hawk, just said like, what are we doing? We hit 3 titles. We didn't make it that much. Okay. Let's see here. What are the core titles here for Xbox?
So I know Cameo was exclusive.
Yes.
Perfect Dark Zero was exclusive. Those were the rare games. I've also heard that Perfect Dark Zero is bad and Cameo is kind of mediocre.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I heard that Cameo is okay. It's not the greatest.
Yeah.
Need for Speed is good, but not the exclusive.
Quake 4 was exclusive for a time. I think it might have been
like console exclusive.
Console, yeah, okay. It was console exclusive forever, basically.
Okay.
Which
I
counts
see.
for something as far as
Yeah, I would
consoles
say
go.
so.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about consoles right now. If we were to put PC in here, this will be an interesting conversation given that PC was released a long time ago and it hasn't it's not like there's different generations of PCs.
That said, it looks like
Uh,
the PC version of Quake 4 was considered the superior version from what I'm
yeah,
looking at here.
I would think so. I
Just
definitely
because
think so,
shooters
especially
are easier to play
shooters.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
They stole Ridge
Uh,
Racer from PlayStation.
True. Honestly, you have your sports titles, which is fine. Like for
Yeah.
people that are like that, I would think for again Xbox, PlayStation, we're definitely targeting
Yeah.
more of the. I don't want to say mature audience because, like I said, I think of myself as a kid in a man's body,
Yeah.
but definitely not the titles for parents to buy for their
Yeah.
kids necessarily.
So
Though
here,
obviously you got Call of Duty.
Yeah. I kind of feel like they're missing the killer app unless it's Call of Duty.
Yes.
Maybe I'm just.
I mean, Call of Duty
not in
was
that
huge.
mindset.
Yeah, Call of Duty was huge, but I'm thinking Call of Duty was Call of Duty 2 exclusive. I don't think so.
I doubt it. I can check quick here, but yeah, I had this at a B, but looking at it again, I'm not even sure if it's that high.
I would say C, honestly, with you. C or B.
Because yeah, I'm not seeing like things here that I really associate with Xbox
Okay,
as
but
a
let's
brand.
see what we put
Yeah,
on
so
B.
Call of Duty was also console exclusive on 360, which I guess counts for something, but it was
Okay.
on Windows as well.
I'll put it at a B.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think it was as bad as PlayStation or PlayStation 2 for sure.
that's fair.
I think it was.
Yeah.
It had some decent titles in there. Nothing groundbreaking though.
Yeah, we're just starting to get to a point where a lot of games are multi-plat, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the consoles kind of become less distinct.
For sure.
Well,
Let's get to the
barring
PlayStation 3.
Nintendo, because
Yeah, Nintendo has always
they do
been
their own
distinct.
thing. So hold on.
What's up?
360 had Ridge Racer 6, but PlayStation has Ridge Racer 7.
It's
I guess
it's
it
a back
did
and
come out
forth,
like a full year later, but that's a bit funny to me.
So yeah, US launch had Blazing Angel Squadron of World War II. I have no idea why I read that one. I don't know what that is. Sorry if I offended somebody out there.
Oh, and they
Really
got
have
Call
no
of
idea
Duty 3. They've got all the 360 games, but incremented by one.
Call of Duty 3, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and the NBA Sports, the NHL, Resistance, Fall of Man, PlayStation exclusive. We got Tiger Woods, Tony Hawk's Project 8. Oh my gosh, Tony Hawk, just give up right now. Just kidding. Just kidding. Ridge Racer 7, Untold Legends, Dark Kingdom. All right.
Right.
The major exclusive here, Resistance.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this Resistance Fall of Man is not super well remembered.
Not really. It was a decent title. It was doing interesting things. It was good enough that
decent Metacritic.
What does it have for Metacritic? Let's look it up.
It's got 86 actually, which is a lot higher than I thought. I thought this was like a 6 or 7 game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it was well received enough that it got 2 or more other titles. Like it went to 2 and 3.
I might
like
be
the
thinking
story.
of something else.
You might be thinking of Killzone. Maybe?
Killzone, yeah, I think so. Killzone had like a bad one somewhere around here, but
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay, so that
it's
improves
good.
my impression a bit. Yeah, it sounds like Resistance Fall of Man is good.
Yeah,
I was under the impression.
Call of Duty 3.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. What were you gonna say about you were under the impression?
I was under the impression Resistance Fall of Man was kind of all they had, and that it wasn't a very good game. But it sounds like it was a good game, and I was confusing it with something else. So
okay,
they've got their
Versus...
killer app, and they've got some other stuff. I think most of this other stuff is not exclusive.
Yeah.
Call of Duty definitely wasn't at this point.
No, not at this point. Call of Duty 3 is solid title again, but it wasn't their mother. When we see the PlayStation 3 and 360 era,
right?
Other Call of Duties were there, like World at War, Black Ops.
Yeah.
The Modern Warfares are the ones that like define the Call of Duty of all time. So
you think
I would say
Resistance is enough to bump this above the other PlayStations up to B?
I would say so. Yes.
Okay,
I think it's on par with the 360.
gotcha.
I would say. So yeah, PlayStation B. Good job. You made it one tier higher. Okay, Wii.
All right.
Oh boy, here we go. Let's go on a ride, shall we?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting. We're going to have an interesting dilemma here, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we got the
With
Call
the
of Duty
killer
3.
app. Yeah.
Made it here. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2.
Right. I forgot that was a big deal for you.
It's a huge deal for me. You don't know how many hours I sunk into this game. Oh,
Okay. Well, my Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 2 was probably Excite Bike. I spent way more time playing that. I got way more mileage out of that game than I should have.
Okay. But to be fair, this Dragon Ball game came out on the PS2 first.
Okay. But
So it's
did
not
it have
exclusive.
were you able to perform the Kamehameha?
Like using the Wiimotes? Yeah, I think that actually bumps it down for me. That actually puts it up. We got the GT Pro Series, Happy Feet. And then, I think this is the killer app, but we'll have a conversation. Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess. We got Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Got Need for Speed Carbon. Remember, that's the one that I like. Not on the Wii, but I like that one.
Right.
Rayman Raving Rabbits.
Yep.
Red Steel. Oh, I forgot about Red Steel. It was a decent game. I enjoyed it.
Really? I've heard that the first one sucks and the second one is actually really good. And people are actually mad that they still called it Red Steel because they think that hurt its chances.
Okay, I'm not a Red Steel fan by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I don't go on the Reddit. Yeah. I don't go into anything about Red Steel. But when I played it, I had a fun time.
We've got Banana Blitz, Monkey Ball. I believe this one is not very well regarded because of the motion controls.
The Trauma Center?
Trauma Center is considered good. I enjoy Trauma Center. I have not played a whole lot of them, but the ones I have played, I enjoyed. And we've got kind of a second killer app here in Wii Sports.
I would say, Wii Sports, take it as you will, but Wii Sports really sold the Wii.
I got a lot of mileage out of Wii Sports, and I think it was just a brilliant move to actually bundle that with the Wii.
Mm-hmm. It made it very family oriented at that point.
Oh yeah,
because no matter, you don't need to know characters, you don't need to know anything. You created your avatar of your own family, of your own self, and you go and play some sports with your like a arcadey version of sports.
Yeah,
with your
this was the game that got played like whenever we brought the Wii to like a family gathering.
But yeah,
like even my family who didn't play games would be up for a game of Wii Sports, and it was fun. Like
it was.
Obviously, I prefer Zelda a lot, but like I had plenty of fun with Wii Sports.
Yeah,
it was a cool game.
Absolutely. I don't think, I know it's like, it's what are you talking about? It's not your Halo Combat Evolve or your I don't know, Uncharted if it came out with the PlayStation, but come on, Wii Sports.
Yeah,
it's up there for sure.
And the fact that it was bundled, I think, really is just like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, Matt. Now, honestly.
Sorry, Twilight Princess, I want to just say, is kind of in a weird position because it also released on the GameCube at the same time.
Mm-hmm. We'll have another one of those for sure when we talk about more recent ones.
I just want to say my position on this, like these situations where something releases on an older gen console and a next gen console at the same time, I consider Twilight Princess a Wii game, and the GameCube is just like...
Yes.
The GameCube version I consider just for people who didn't want to jump over to the Wii immediately because they promised it. So
yeah, no, I agree.
Twilight Princess for me is 100% a Wii game, so I'm going to consider it here to be an exclusive, even if it technically wasn't.
Yeah. Now, again, for me, looking at these titles, there's some, what's it called?
Shovelware?
Some misses. I didn't want to say shovelware because there's not a lot of shovelware at the start. Obviously,
there's stuff here like
there's Square, SpongeBob,
Happy Feet, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, SpongeBob, Rampage Total Destruction was 100% shovelware.
True. Yeah, that is true.
So very indicative of the Wii's life. It already began from launch. But Zelda, Twilight Princess
Yeah.
is massive for me.
Mm-hmm.
Excite Truck was another pretty big launch title for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Rayman I had at launch. It was okay. I got some mileage out of it. And then Red Steel. You said you enjoyed, so some people
Yeah,
liked
I
it
enjoyed
clearly.
it.
Trauma Center
Mm-hmm.
I think is solid. Wii Sports is a big deal, obviously.
Big deal. Yeah.
Monkey Ball is still Monkey Ball. So I think you've got a killer app. You've got enough other quality titles that you should be able to find something to enjoy. I had Wii
Mm-hmm.
at A.
Yeah, I was thinking, and now that we talk about the shovelware and all that sort of stuff, A or S, to be honest.
Okay.
That's what I'm landing at. But
The
let's see what we have
shovelware
at
doesn't
S.
really drag it down for me. Like,
No, not
I just
necessarily.
consider it kind of a null factor.
Yeah,
I don't count those games among the, the launch lineup because I think
to me. Yeah.
people
Yeah.
would know to avoid them. But yeah, I had Wii as A tier.
Okay. Now we compare it to GameCube. I think it's better than the GameCube.
Yeah, so I guess my thinking
Launch.
is you've got because you've got Twilight Princess and Wii Sports, which I think are kind of like double the killer apps,
Yeah.
which is good. I would say about the rest of the games is there's nothing with like mass appeal. Like I don't think Trauma Center, Excite Truck, Rayman, or Red Steel really had the mass appeal factor. They're all games that I think someone could enjoy, but
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Nah,
they're not
we'll leave it
like
at A. We'll leave it at A.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. It's decent. I think it's better than the GameCube, but I don't know if it gets to the point of like, okay, Halo Combat Evolve or like the Super Mario World.
yeah, like Twilight Princess
style.
is a solid game. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily genre defining like some of those other games were.
Yeah.
And Wii Sports, I guess you could argue, kind of was in a different sort of way. Like it didn't inspire. Like obviously there were some Wii Sports copycats, but
But none of them hit like Wii Sports at all.
It was more that it sold the idea that games can be sold to non-gamers as well.
Yeah. Okay. We'll leave it at A. We can make the argument for S
Okay.
later on. So we go to the 8th generation. I think we'd leave the handhelds out of it. We'll talk about the handhelds at some other point.
Okay.
We'll just talk about like home consoles.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 8th generation, which is technically the current generation that is about to leave us in 2 weeks.
Right.
Let's go with
this is where we really get into just port hell.
All right, let's start with should we start with the Wii U? No, the Wii U came after this too. Wait, was it? Yeah. No, the Wii U was before the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I believe the Wii U was the first one that released this time. They
So
pulled a 360 and released like a year in advance.
Yeah. All right. The US launch had a bunch of titles, so I'm not gonna go through them all. A ton of titles, actually.
Yeah, but
it has some solid
most of these are ports.
Yeah, so a lot of them are ports.
Almost
Assassin's
all
Creed
of these
3,
are ports.
Batman Arkham City, Call of Duty Black Ops 2,
Mass Effect 3.
Darksiders 2. What else do we got? Mass Effect 3, yes, you're right. Is New Super Mario Brothers U? Is that
That's
new
a
to
new
this
game.
one?
The real like new titles, new exclusive titles here are basically New Super Mario Bros. U and Nintendo Land.
Okay.
And those are
got
really the main ones worth noting.
Zombie U was there.
Oh, Zombie U
was
as well.
a thing.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 3.
Mm-hmm.
And
you got a bunch of stuff.
Sorry, yeah. You got a lot of other stuff, but not exclusives.
Yeah. Continue.
So, New Super Mario Bros. U, I think I did not enjoy that game a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just largely because it was very derivative at that point. The New Super Mario Bros. Series had kind of been done to death, and that was sort of just like another one.
Mm-hmm.
Zombie U I didn't play. I heard it had some neat ideas, but it also had some problems and was kind of just okay. Nintendo Land I love. Nintendo Land, I think, is great. I think it's still maybe the best game as far as showing off like the types of games that only the Wii U can do.
Okay. Ooh, it's a tough one because yeah, we did give it points to the other ones because they did, even though they didn't have many they had their solid 3 titles,
Yeah.
and then they had a lot of other not cross platform games. These are all ports which could be considered games, but I remember like a lot of these games, Arkham City had been out for a while.
Yeah.
Before it made it to the Wii U. The same as Assassin's Creed 3.
I think this is, at this point, like from the ones we've gone through, I think this is easily Nintendo's weakest launch.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Because we've only got the 3 or so exclusive titles, and of those, I don't think any really work as a killer app. Like, you could maybe make an argument for Nintendo Land, and like I think Nintendo Land is great. I think it's a really solid game. I got a lot of use out of it. I don't know if I put that on the same pedestal, though, as like Twilight Princess or Mario 64.
No. Or even Wii Sports. Like Wii Sports, it's like, yeah, I think Wii Sports is way better than Nintendo Land. It had a way bigger impact.
It could maybe be on like the same level as Luigi's Mansion. But I also don't think you really have the other stuff backing it up. So I had Wii U at C tier, and I could even potentially justify D. I like Nintendo Land enough that it works as C for me.
Yeah, it works as C. Let's put it at C.
Okay.
Where is my Wii U here? Where, what? Oh, here it is.
The Wii U doesn't have a background on this.
It doesn't. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's because, I guess it's white, but so are the Xbox 360s and the Wii. Anyway. Let's go into the next one, which is the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. They released very side by side almost.
Yep.
So we got, for the Xbox One, a lot of games. Got Assassin's Creed 4, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghosts. Dead Rising 3, that's exclusive. Then we got Need for Speed Rivals. We got Titanfall. I think that was exclusive for a while. Even exclusive forever.
Rise Son of Rome was also an exclusive.
Rise Son of Rome was also exclusive. Tomb Raider, definitely not exclusive.
Watch Dogs, not exclusive. Zoo Tycoon, not exclusive.
Okay.
So we're kind of in it's a solid lineup, but once again, we're in a situation where these aren't really exclusives or even necessarily new titles.
No, but they're not ports. That's the main thing. The ones that are kind of ports or like definitive editions, like, okay, you got the Tomb Raider.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Watch Dogs came out here. I don't know if it came out for the PS, like the previous generation. If it did, it was like a Twilight Princess kind of deal. Where it was like to the tail end, which I would just consider it this kind. Obviously, third party. It came out for both.
So if we're looking at the actual like fully exclusive games, though, I think we're looking at what, like Dead Rising 3 and Rise?
Mm-hmm. Dead Rising 3, Rise, Titanfall.
And Titanfall. Yeah. And of those, so I've heard Titanfall 2, I hear, is excellent.
Titanfall 1, I also hear excellent.
I hear is good, but it was just kind of the lack of single player hurt it for some people. Like, if you weren't into the multiplayer, that was just kind of all there was. Dead Rising 3, was that one of the ones that people... I know 4 people really didn't like. Was 3 still well received?
I think it was... like 1 and 2 were definitely the strongest ones.
Okay. I know that Rise Son of Rome was definitely not well liked.
No, oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. So I think out of the 3, I think Titanfall is the one that is the top tier, like the one that is more recognized or more well received.
Yeah, and I do remember Titanfall at launch was a big enough deal. Like, not like Halo levels, obviously, but...
No.
Yeah,
B or A? I think closer to B for me.
Oh, I had this at a solid C.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Titanfall is a big title for them. I do think so. And it did have enough, like, even if it's cross-platform, it had enough launch titles in there.
This
Yeah,
is the
B.
first
I
time
think
we've
B.
really diverged, but yeah. I guess because I put more stake in like what can you only get on this
Yeah,
console,
true.
and I think this is the point where console launches really started suffering from just either all having similar things or
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
just
true.
not being able to really stand apart from each other. And I know that Rise was not well liked. Dead Rising 3 you say was not the greatest,
No.
and Titanfall was exclusive for a while, but I do still remember also hearing that like it wasn't for everyone because it was purely a
Mm-hmm.
multiplayer game at that point.
Yeah.
So as a
Okay.
killer app, I don't know if it quite has the mass appeal that it needs.
All right, B or C. I don't mind.
Okay, let's compromise and put it at B, I guess.
Okay.
Middle of the road between us.
Cool. All right, PlayStation 4. I think we're gonna have a similar deal here.
Yeah, these two are very similar. You just replace Rise with Knack.
No, gosh. Okay, so we
Actually,
got the
this looks
PlayStation 4.
worse.
Got Assassin's Creed, your Call of Duty Ghosts, and this one had Justice Among Us, but again, this is a port, not necessarily a port, but an Ultimate Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Killzone Shadowfall. I think that was
Is
the
this the one I was
biggest.
thinking of that people didn't like?
Yes, that's the
Gotcha.
one that you're thinking about. Knack, Lego Marvel Superheroes. Pretty sure that came out for everything.
Yep.
Need for Speed Rivals came out for everything, and Warframe. I remember it was mostly associated with PlayStation. I don't know if this ever made it to Xbox. And Warframe is a strong title that's still played through
Warframe
today.
is a strong title, yes. It did release first on Windows.
Okay, so PC.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
it did eventually release on Xbox One. I'm looking at it now, as well as Nintendo Switch.
They did?
So
Switch has it? Oh my gosh. Everything make it to Switch.
yeah, so this I wouldn't consider a strong point in their favor.
No, I don't think so.
So yeah, this one's rough.
When I played this, I remember I was at launch. I actually went out to EV Games or GameStop, and I stand outside in the freaking cold to get this at the midnight. I got my game. I was super excited just because at that point I was really into the PlayStation ecosystem because of their trophy systems.
Yep.
And then I remember when I got and I was excited to play Killzone. I enjoyed the previous ones like 1, 2, or 3. Not super. Like at the end, I didn't think they were like groundbreaking, but it was enjoyable.
Okay.
But then I played this Killzone Shadowfall, and I'm like, no, this ain't it.
Jeez.
And then Knack, nope, this ain't it either. The one title that I played the most out of the launch title series, FIFA 14.
Oof.
So I put this at a C or it might be lower than Xbox One.
Yeah. I think it sounds lower than Xbox One, which we gave a B. So definitely C. Was Killzone bad enough to make this D for you? Are we going to have 1D? No? Okay.
No. I definitely don't think it's worth. I think it's better than the PlayStation and PlayStation 2.
Okay.
There you go. All right. Now, would you consider this current gen? Nintendo Switch technically still going on strong, but it's been 2 years since it came out.
It's a weird. Nintendo's kind of branched off from the normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got another similar situation here where they're kind of all riding on just the one title. But boy, what a title it is!
Oh yeah. Okay, so let's go through it. Small list, only 5 titles. 1, 2 Switch. I remember when they showed this off, man. Anyway, I was laughing.
Yikes.
Like crazy.
Yeah, this was their attempt at like another Wii Sports in Nintendo Land, but boy, this did not look up to snuff with those games.
No. Just Dance. I'm pretty sure that they're still making Just Dance for the Wii, or they just stopped doing that for the Wii. So,
which is crazy. Anyway,
Skylanders,
not my cup of tea. Yeah.
Super Bomberman R, and let me tell you, that Super Bomberman ain't it either. No.
I know that game sold way more than it should have just because it was the only other game for Switch at launch.
Exactly. But the redeeming title here is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, so this is more just how much do you like Breath of the Wild?
Pretty much, essentially, for your own opinion.
I will
This,
say,
this this had the GameCube treatment though, or the Twilight treatment, where
yeah,
it essentially came out on the Wii U, but nobody
yeah.
had a Wii U. That's the main problem.
Yeah, I think
Uh, the-
this is like even more so a Switch title than Twilight Princess was a Wii
yeah.
title for me,
hmm
just because the Wii U sold so poorly. But also, I will say, like, I think the Switch had a fantastic first year, but you would not know it
Yes.
looking at this launch lineup.
No, but titles that came afterwards, I mean, they had Breath of the Wild and Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey,
In the
in the
same
same
year,
year.
as well as like Splatoon 2, Xenoblade 2,
hmm
Mario and Rabbids, ARMS.
hmm
Like Nintendo really went the extra mile for the first year of the Switch.
hmm
But we're not talking about the first year, unfortunately. We're
No,
just
we're
talking
talking about the
about
launch.
launch. And at
And there's
launch,
only one title.
you had Zelda. I
hmm
will say, if you're going to have only one title at launch, having it be a title like Zelda that you can sink so many hours into is smart.
Yeah. I mean, but is it the same treatment as we did the N64, where they had Super Mario 64, which is also
Yeah,
generational. It could be said that it's also as influential as Zelda Breath of the Wild, or even more.
I did have the Switch at C tier actually,
Okay, I'll put it
which
at
was
B, honestly,
one
based on everything that
below
we
the
said,
N64, just based on Zelda.
just
I
because I
guess,
love Zelda so much.
yeah,
And it's not the
yeah,
same as the
that's
GameCube,
fair.
as the
I
Wii
guess
treatment, where the
I
Wii had
also
Twilight
had,
Princess.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think putting it the same as the N64 probably makes sense because like
hmm
I would say there's like literally nothing else on Switch. Pilot Wing 64 is probably a better secondary title than anything you could get on Switch, but at least you have
Yeah,
options on Switch, I guess.
yeah, that's true.
What flavor of bad do you want? Do you want Just Dance or Bomberman or 1-2 Switch?
Exactly. I mean, it's just Zelda. It's still so influential.
Yeah, and like it could keep you busy until they got more games out. Like that game
hmm
alone could easily occupy you.
Yeah. And then we got the two consoles that are coming out in 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So let's take a quick gander at them. Let's start with the Xbox Series X and S. If we
Yep.
look at this is a list provided by Xbox by the wiki. This is the wiki guide from IGN, by the way. Check out the links in the description if you want to check it out. The titles here, there are no exclusives.
D tier.
No exclusives. Well, technically, no. Or, I would say I would have sent Ori because Ori wouldn't come up, but Ori is on the Switch. Sea of
Yep.
Thieves is on PC.
Well, everything's on PC because that's what Microsoft does now. But
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
these are
it's a
all
different
also
strategy.
on pretty much all on Xbox One, aren't they? Like Sea of Thieves is.
Sea of Thieves is, yeah. Forza Horizon 4 is, Gears 5, Tactics. Grounded is exclusive to Microsoft, but it's still on PC. See, this is the thing with Microsoft new strategy. It's they're pushing for now xCloud and the Xbox Game Pass. That's
Yeah.
what they want for you to get. And
Which,
if we're and they have a breadth of games in here that you can get at a
yeah.
higher fidelity for sure.
So if we're like judging this, it's weird to judge this by like the same standards as other consoles because it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's they're trying to do something different. But if
Yes.
we are judging this like for fairness' sake by the same standards that we did the other consoles, I had this at D tier, easy. Just like the lack of anything to personally make it stand out,
Mm-hmm.
I think is just an automatic like, yeah, D. Which,
Interesting.
yeah, fair enough, is not indicative of the Xbox strategy
No.
because they're pivoting away from just doing like what Sony is doing and
Exactly.
kind of trying
But
to
yeah,
do something all their own, which I feel is valid, but I think it's another discussion compared to what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm. But now that being said, like if you were somebody to get this, you didn't have a PC,
Mm-hmm.
you just have your Xbox, and you were gonna get this game, and for some reason you didn't have an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4, getting this breadth of games because they're solid titles, like very solid titles in here
Yeah.
for sure.
I just know that I docked every other console we've talked about when their games were on older systems. Apart from, I specifically made exceptions for Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild because they launched simultaneously on older consoles.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case for these games. So I've got to be consistent and say it's a D for me. I don't know where your head's at.
Okay. All right, we'll put it there. We'll use this. We don't. I'll use the Game and Watch because we don't have the actual Xbox One or Xbox Series X picture in here because this hasn't been updated. But yeah, we'll use that.
There, now we used all our tiers. So
there we go. All right, let's talk about PlayStation 5 instead. PlayStation 5 does have exclusives under its belt. Some are console like time exclusives.
Yep.
For a little bit. So we got if we're talking about just exclusives to PlayStation, we got Bugsnax.
Classic.
We got classic, amazing. I mean, it does look like a fun title.
I still don't know what it's gonna, what that game's gonna be.
Now, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yep.
We got where is although I don't see it on this list, which I'm kind of confused by, because I would think if it's not, does that mean that it's coming out a bit later than the launch? I would have thought it was a Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I also don't see Demon Souls.
There's a separate list for that if you scroll up. If you're looking at the pages.
Oh, I'm third party. I'm sorry. I'm dumb. I just don't know how to use websites.
Yeah. So you got Demon Souls, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy.
Sackboy. I'm actually like you would think like, oh yeah, Sackboy, what a joke. It's not a joke. Sackboy is like Little Big Planet is a solid title, and this technically is not the created side of Little Big Planet.
Yeah, this is a different thing, but I don't know. Coming out of that team, it's probably going to be a solid enough experience, I would think.
Yeah. It looks fun based on what I've seen. Demon Souls and Astro's Playroom. I heard that. Although this is kind of like a demo, trying to showcase what the PS5 is capable of. I heard that the Astros games on the PS4 were actually pretty solid.
Okay.
So, exclusive wise, we got the main hitter is Spider-Man Miles Morales. I would say.
Really, not Demon Souls.
And Demon Souls. Okay, the reason that I say this is because this is a completely new experience. Miles Morales, although it's kind of using Manhattan.
I was about to say like That's maybe the reason I consider Demon Souls bigger. Is it's hard for me not to look at Miles Morales as kind of like it's beyond just being like DLC, but it doesn't seem like it's quite fully a new game.
True, but at the same, it is a fully featured experience, and it's its own story and everything.
And,
so
not to knock Miles Morales. Like I think it's definitely a big deal here. I think that was just why I thought Demon Souls might be a bigger thing.
Yeah.
Because the Souls franchise
is huge.
Gotten pretty big. I do see your point, though, about like Demon Souls is technically a re-release as well. We don't know to what extent yet. This is kind of the unfortunate thing is now we're talking about games that don't yet exist. So unlike all the previous ones where we could kind of look back and say, like, this is how well certain things were received, we can't really do that here. So we're kind of just guesstimating how good we think these things are going to be. But I will say, I think the Sony, the first party thing Sony is putting out for a launch, it's a pretty solid list, especially for Sony. Like you look at where we've been ranking the Sony consoles up till now. I think this, like if it was just these 5, I'd still be tempted to say it's the best PlayStation launch.
Yeah, I mean, and these are pretty exclusive. I don't think Spider-Man is ever going to make it to other things.
Yeah, like the first party ones are for sure exclusives, and then looking down to third party, we still got a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, which I mean, it's the same thing that we talked to Xbox about. Like they also have the same titles.
A lot of ports, but you got Bugsnax at least. So
you have Bugsnax, yes.
I feel like you've probably got the same, like a similar thing to the SNES, where you could probably pull out at least 5 titles that are for sure exclusive and probably going to be pretty solid with between Demon Souls, Spider-Man, Sackboy, maybe Astro, maybe Bug Snacks.
Yeah, I think it has enough content to keep you busy for a while. And the other part is what they already said, that Horizon Zero Dawn is coming on spring. So even they're hitting you with these 5 titles, and with this this third party, like very solid titles for third party as well. And then they're hitting you with another exclusive. Back then, it has like a similar treatment to the Switch. Obviously, we don't know how well those titles are actually going to be received once they're played. But these are, at least the main titles are part of franchises that are well known and have good track records.
Yeah. So I don't want to move past the launch just because.
No, yeah.
That's what we're talking about here. I think this is definitely above the Switch. So I had it at A tier, but I could see S.
Yeah.
Depending on your feelings on these particular games.
I mean, I could be. I love Spider-Man. You know how much I loved the original Spider-Man. Like that. And you know that Demon's Souls is the only platinum that I ever gotten, and the only Souls games that I ever beat.
Yeah.
So to me, this is solid. Like if you like, show me a launch titles that are like, okay, I want to play. Those are it. The one thing that I would say about this is the exclusive titles, aside from Demon's Souls, are coming to the PS4. That's one of the reasons why I didn't even jump into getting the pre-order for the PS5, because I could play Miles Morales, Sackboy Adventures, Bugsnax. Well, I don't know about Bugsnax. I will have to check, but I would think so. And on the PS4.
So I would think, my understanding at least is it's going to be similar to like the Zelda games where it's a simultaneous release.
Yes.
So yeah, for fairness' sake, I'm going to do the same thing I did for Zelda and say that they count as PlayStation 5 exclusives.
Yeah, like,
even if it's not technically true. So
we'll use this colorful console thing here that I don't know what it is as a PlayStation 5, and we'll put it in S. All
right.
So technically, S tier has the 3. One console for each manufacturer.
Oh yeah.
We had a Dreamcast, we have an SNES, we have the Xbox, and we have the PlayStation 5.
Look at that.
Look at that. That's also fairness all around here. That's awesome. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that list quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I think that's everything that we got for you this week. Thank you so much for joining us. This is quite a lengthy episode, but we had to put it together. And we excluded all the handhelds and the consoles that we had no idea about. So this could have been a even longer conversation, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you stuck with us during all this time, I appreciate it. Again, you can check out this in audio form on any podcast services around the globe, and you can also check us out. We're now on Spotify, by the way. If so, you can look us up on Spotify. That's a big win. And you can check us out on YouTube if you want the video version, for sure. And let us know what your own rankings are. I will post the link of the tier list maker. Look at all the titles. Let us know what your tier list is. You can share it with us on the description, or you can talk to us on the Discord. All the links are in the description as well. And if you like what you see, make sure to leave us a like, consider subscribing, and hitting that notification bell to ensure that you get all the content from It's All Fun and Games. We got chat and games, we got your daily sign-ins, and we got some spicy playthroughs that we're doing as well. In the meantime, Matt, is there anything else that you need to say for this episode?
Bye.
All right, you heard. This is Chat and Games signing off.